There's something eerily hollow about Call of Duty Finest Hour. Not in a broken way, not in a failed experiment kind of way, but in the sense that it feels like a fossil, buried somewhere beneath the franchise's megaton legacy. Still intact, still echoing, but forgotten. Released in 2004 as the console adaptation of the original Call of Duty, Finest Hour was meant to translate the gritty authenticity of the PC shooter to living rooms and gamepads. But it ended up becoming something else entirely. Not quite canonical, not quite remembered, something in between. What struck me most while revisiting this game wasn't its visuals, which even in 2004 were muddy, or its mechanics rigid and clunky by modern standards. It was the tone. This game didn't feel like it was trying to entertain me. It felt like it was repeating something, like reenactment, like ritual. You don't play as one lone hero. You cycle through 6 soldiers across 3 fronts, Soviet, British, and American. And each of them, in their own way, feels like a ghost. Their names barely stick, their stories flicker past between gunfights and cutscenes told in scratchy film grain, and yet, that anonymity works. The opening mission, set during the Soviet defense of Stalingrad, doesn't ease you in. It throws you into a meat grinder. You climb through rubble, bullets zip overhead, commanders scream at you to keep moving. And when you finally grab a weapon, it's just the barrel. No ammo, no heroics, just fear, just survival. That's the core of Finest Hour. This sense of smallness, of futility. You aren't a super soldier, you're just another uniform in a sea of bodies, trying not to die. It doesn't glorify anything, it just documents. And yet, it wants to say more. You can feel it. In the way it frames its Soviet levels with industrial death, in the quiet moments between British stealth missions, creeping through French ruins, in the slow, dragging dread of the Battle of the Bulge. There's texture here, emotional residue, something modern CODs rarely make space for. But this game was caught in an awkward place. Before Modern Warfare made COD a household name, before multiplayer kill streaks and esports turned it into a competitive titan, Finest Hour existed in that quiet interlude. A war story told with restraint, and maybe even a bit of fear, like the developers were more afraid of dishonoring history than of boring the player. A relic of a time when shooters weren't about power fantasies, but memorials. Still, it didn't land. It never became a classic. It never got remastered or re-released. It faded, like the echoes of distant artillery, because Finest Hour is hard to remember. Not because it was bad, but because it was unspectacular, quiet, intimate. And when you line it up next to the high-octane dopamine of later entries, it barely makes a sound. But maybe that's what war actually is. Not the victory theme, not the leaderboard, just boots on gravel, a breath held too long, a name,